Okay, hello everybody. I hope I'm live and welcome back to our session to our full front-end development course of JavaScript. It's 4 p.m. now and we are starting with our JavaScript sessions, right? So welcome back guys. If you are new to this particular session, then I will introduce myself and I'll also give a detail about Relevel, but this which is a product by Unacademy. But before that, I wanted to give some agenda about this particular session. So in this session, we are going to talk about typecasting and operators in JavaScript, right? Operators we are not going to discuss in detail because I think there are a lot of operators, and to discuss that we need a separate session. So what we are going to do is, as the sessions will go on, we will include operators and we'll see how these operators work. Okay, so we'll not cover these operators in one session itself, but we'll divide it into several sessions. So mostly the important topic for today is typecasting, and that's what we are going to do. I hope you guys can hear me well, and you guys can see me, you guys can see my video and the screen, everything is fine, right? So just wait for some time and then we'll start. Meanwhile, let me introduce myself. So if you guys are new, then you must not be knowing me, but if you guys have already seen my videos and you are watching my series, which is on front-end development, which is a playlist which is going on in this channel, uh, then you must be knowing me. So my name is Ritwik Raj and I'm a corporate trainer. I've been working as a content strategist, research analyst, and a subject matter expert in many of the edtech companies. I have 3+ years of teaching experience, and I've trained graduates and corporate employees in Recent and Capgemini, and then I've trained more than 25K students as well. My subjects which I take is front-end development, back-end development, mostly into full stack development, and also I have taken some tips and tricks to crack interviews. Soon I'll be taking one session on interview preparation as well. You will get to know when I'll take it, so don't worry. But just keep an eye on notifications, and if you've not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe it so that you can get notifications for all my live sessions. Also, if you're willing to get into Unacademy Plus subscription, then please do not forget to use my coupon code, which is RIT10. It's a very small coupon code. You just have to apply it and get 10% off, right? So use this particular coupon, which is RIT10, and you'll be availing Unacademy Plus subscription with 10% off. Okay, so meanwhile, if you guys are joining, let me tell you the new students who are joining here about Relevel. Okay, so what is Relevel? Relevel is a product by Unacademy. Now, what? Hi, Somu. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Please bring your friends also so that they can also gain this knowledge and they can also give the test which Relevel has. So basically, let me tell you about Relevel. What is it? Now, many of your students are in Tier 3 college and most of you are not actually being able to, get in opportunities by most of the MNC companies or product companies to get hired, right? Because in those colleges, nobody wants to come there, right? Now, basically, you're applying for 50 to 60 companies, but you're not getting reply back from them as well. The reason being, maybe it's about your degree. Maybe you don't have BE degree, or you have BE degree from civil or mechanical engineering, or you are from, you have done BSc, but you're fond of IT, you're fond of programming languages. It can be reason. Colleges can be the reason. Connections can be the reason. Reasons can be anything. So keeping that in mind, we are introducing Relevel, India's first test hiring platform by Unacademy, which is helping job seekers find their dream jobs. Okay, how? On the basis of your skill and talent. So if you have the skill, if you have the knowledge, then you have to give a free test. Once you give the free test, what will happen based on that particular test, how much ever you will score. If you score more than 700, you are going to pass, and we are going to provide a profile for you, which all the MNC companies and other particular companies which we have tied up with will get in close with you, and they'll get interview and you will get hired. So this is what will happen. Suppose if you're not scoring above 700, then don't worry, you're not failing. After 30 days, you can again reattempt this test for free, and that's how it will happen. There are 1,000+ job positions across business development, front development, back-end development, and you can choose any of the tests whichever you want to give. How to register yourself in Relevel? You can find the link of Relevel in the video description. If you can scroll down, you'll find the links in the description. just click on that link and go ahead and register yourself. You have to choose the particular exam or test which you want to give. You want to give business development or front-end development or back-end development. And once you choose the test, you have to choose the slot of your choice of your time when you want to give the test, and create a neat video resume and click on submit. Only this much and you are registered yourself in Relevel. So this is what is all about Relevel, and do not wait for this particular opportunity because there are already so many people who have already registered. So go ahead and do this. And if you're worried about your skills, that you don't have the skill and the test will be so hard that how can I crack? So what you have to do is you have to watch our playlist, which many of the faculties are right now, providing you in this particular channel. So do subscribe to the channel so that you can get notified of what all lessons or what all topics are getting covered in which particular programming language, so that you can upskill yourself and then you can apply for Relevel, right? Also, please hit like if you're liking this session. In the end, also you can do it if you think that this live session is going perfectly well. I have been taking sessions till now. I think 13 to 14 sessions I have taken till now, and the response is really good. I think everybody's understanding what I'm teaching and they're enjoying this. So call up your friends, call up your relatives, call up your fellows, classmates, everybody, say that these sessions are going on. And Ritwik is, covering front-end development. Okay. So we have a Telegram channel as well to get you notified when this particular session is going live and all. So go ahead and click on this particular Telegram channel link and join the channel. Okay, let's move ahead and let's understand JavaScript typecasting. So till now, what we have understood in JavaScript is basically about what is JavaScript, why do we use it, where do we use it, how do we write it, what are comments, the syntax and everything else, right? Now, we have also understood in the previous session, which was yesterday, about variables and operators. We have seen how to use the variables, what are the three keywords which we write, var, let, const, right? And then we've also seen what is operators, sorry, not operators, data types, right? We have seen strings, numbers, Booleans, those kind of things. Now is the time that we want to know that how can we convert from one data type to another data type, okay? And this can be in very different forms, right? It can be from string to numbers, numbers to string, date to numbers, number to dates, Boolean to numbers, number to Booleans, okay? There are automatic conversions also. So those all things which we are going to see in this one hour live session, okay? So stick to the video and keep on watching what I'm going to show you. I'm not going to put any content here in the slide deck, but I'm going to do it in the browser itself. Not going to open Sublime also, because in Sublime you have to write a lot of code to write JavaScript afterwards. So I'm not going to do that. Directly in the browser, we are going to see everything, okay? So let me move to my browser first of all. Okay, so here how I'm going to type it. Most of you must be knowing where I'm going to type, which is inspect, right? And I'm going to console. Here is where I'm going to type everything, and I'm going to show how this works, right? Now, please understand that this session is only in this particular browser. I'm not going to go anywhere else. And if you have any doubts, then please let me know, right? Now, the very first thing which we are going to see here was converting strings to numbers, correct? So that's what we are going to see now. And let's see what happens here when we are converting any string to numbers, okay? Now, there are basically one method which we use, and I think I have already told you which method is it in my previous session. So it was number, okay? And let me maximize this so that you can see. And you can see that when I put here number, you can see the output is saying 0. It's not the output, it's just, you can say that it's a sample which is saying that, number will give you 0. So by default, if you are keeping your number function empty, right? So it gives you 0. That's what the first thing which we are able to see here, right? What if I give here double quotes? Still it gives me 0, right? That means, what do you mean by this? When I'm not putting double quotes, that means any number which I put here, right? It will convert that into a number. It's already a number, it is converting into a number again, right? But what if I put a double quote and then I put 2 here? That means this is a string which I want to convert it into number, and that's what it is showing me, right, in the purple color. So that's how you can understand what is happening. Let's say that I'm writing here my name. Okay, so when I'm writing here my name, what is happening? It's giving me NaN. NaN means not a number. Okay, obviously, because what you want to change this string or convert this string into a number. Is it possible? Not possible, right? You can't convert a string into a number. So it says not a number. Okay, now we have understood when it is empty, then what it is showing me. When it is not having any double quotes also, then what it is showing me. Let's understand what happens when I'm putting any decimal digits. Now this can be converted into a number, right? So it is converting into a number. So understand that whenever you are using a number, if you're putting a string like Ritwik or any word or any letter, that cannot be converted into a number, okay? Because that will give you an option which is not a number, right? Now let's understand some more things. What if I'm giving here something like this? If I'm giving 4.5, it's giving me 4.5, which is a number. That's understandable. But what about this? So when I'm doing .6, now it's not even in the range of numbers, right? What is 4.5.6? It's not even a number. It is not considered to be a number, correct? Because you can't have 2 decimal points in one number, right? So it's not a number. Okay, this is also will come in not a number. Let's say what will happen if I write here /n. Now understand that in programming language, /n means new line, okay? And /n is a special symbol which we always use in programming languages to give a new line. In HTML, it is very easy, you break the line, right? But HTML is not a programming language. Java, C, C++, these are programming languages, and you want to break a line, you put /n. You must have seen this in many of the println statements, right? So what value is it giving me? It's giving me 0, right? That means /n is not a character or a string. It's something, it's such a special symbol which is converted into integer and it's giving me 0. So understand, when this particular number function will give me 0 value in the /n, in the empty string like this as well, and when you are not using any of the thing. In these all 4 cases, it's gonna give me 0. Fine. Now let's move to the another kind of examples. We have already understood that if I'm writing a string, then it's gonna give me not a number. If I'm writing something like this, then also it's going to give me a not a number, right? Now let's understand what happens if I give a value of false here. If I give a value of false, which is a Boolean value, right, it gives me 0, because false explains that it's a 0 value, right? That's how the binary value represents happen of Boolean values. Boolean value are having 2 values, true and false. True is 1, false is 0. If you don't know that, true is 1. It's showing me that. Let's move ahead. Let's write null here. So null is also showing me 0, correct? Now what is null? Understand what is null. Any doubts? So on which day HTML, CSS and JavaScript will be completed? And after this, can we apply for internship? HTML, CSS and JavaScript will get completed by 2nd week of November. Okay. Not only that basic concepts, but the inner depth concepts as well, so that you can apply for jobs and internships as well. And do not think that by using HTML, CSS and JavaScript, you cannot apply for jobs. You can. I did, right? So don't worry about that. You can get a job. Frameworks and libraries, don't worry about that. Yes, those are in demand. And if you know that, it's very good then. But if you're a fresher, if you're in 3rd year or 4th year, you will get internships by only knowing HTML, CSS and JavaScript, because internships are basically for you to learn. So you can apply for internships after that. Ganesh is asking what is console. Console is kind of this console, if you're asking me, then this console is a browser console where you can see the inner outputs. Whatever you want to run in your browser, you can run it before that in the console and you can see the output. This console is there for every programming language. If you have an editor of C programming language, if you have an editor of C++ or Java, you will have console. Console is basically where you see the output. Okay. Now, when you talk about HTML and CSS, in HTML and CSS, we don't have any console because those are not programming languages. Those are coding languages. Those are markup languages, which is run on the browser. That's why the output of HTML and CSS is seen in the browser here. But JavaScript, when we talk about JavaScript, that is a client side and a server side scripting language. That means that can be used in front end also and in back end also. And that's why they have a console here. You can't run HTML and CSS in this console, but you can run JavaScript here, right? Because JavaScript is a programming language which follows both front end and back end. Okay, that's why we have a console here. Will you be doing project also? Yes, we will be doing project also for each and every topic. I think day before yesterday, I did some projects on list, and yesterday I did some projects on tables when you talk about HTML. I'm starting today CSS by 8 p.m. today till 10:15. So in CSS also, once we'll cover some basics, we are going to do some projects. Normal simple projects will also be there, like to-do list or a calculator or digital clock, digital calculator, something like this will be there. But instead of that, more projects will be there, like a tribute page, a photograph landing page, a e-commerce website. And then we'll also design a full-fledged project, which will be a marathon session of 3 hours or 4 hours, in which we are going to design a whole project, right? So all those things will happen. Don't worry about that. I'll keep on reading the comments after 15 minutes. So keep on putting all the comments and just wait for your reply, for my reply, right? So let's move ahead. We have understood this null, that this null is giving me a 0 value. Now understand, this is a very, very important question which is asked in interviews. What is the difference between undefined and null? So what is undefined and null? Let me tell you about that first. Undefined and null are a very special kind of values which we give when we don't have any idea about the values which we want to give. Okay, let's say I have a variable and I want to give it the value 5. So I know which value I want to give. I want to give it the value of number, which is a 5. But suppose you don't want to give any value to a, you want to keep it empty, but you are sure that it should be a kind of a number, then you give null, because null considers it to be a null value, okay, a 0 value, so it's a 0. But what happens when I give undefined? Undefined means I'm not sure that it's gonna be a number or a string or what. I'm not sure. It's undefined. I'm not even defining it. I don't want to use it in my program still. When you're using null, you can use that variable, but the variable value will be null. It will be 0. But when you're using undefined, you're not very sure that I'm going to use this variable, because I'm not sure which particular value it will contain. It will contain number, string, or what, I don't know. So that is what is the difference between null and undefined. To explain it in an easy manner, what you should do in the interview, you should write it down in a sheet of paper and explain. Do not just tell it, because while explaining things with your mouth, by just speaking English, you're not very clear. But when you're using your pen and a notebook to explain things, to explain a logic, it becomes really very easy and nobody's gonna stop you. Yes, there's a different case when you're into virtual interviews. So into virtual interviews, you have to use a notepad, kind of a writing pad, by which you can share a screen and you can then explain, right? So that's how you can do it. So that's what an undefined tells you, NaN, not a number, okay? Let's say that I'm writing here NaN itself, okay? So I know that whatever I want to give this particular value is not a number. It's going to give you a not a number, okay? That's what is all about your number function. I've explained about all the cases which can happen with the number function. let's move ahead. Let's use another function which can convert your strings into numbers, right? So number was one of the function. Let's go ahead. Let's write another function. So we have parse int. Okay. Now what is this parse int? Let's understand that. Now this will convert your integers into numbers. Sorry, strings into integers, right? So let's say that I have a double quote and I'm writing here Ritwik. Still it says not a number because obviously I'm writing a string here and it says not a number. What if I write 5.5? It says 5. What if I write again 0.5? It says 5. That means it knows that what you're writing. You are writing a very unstructured number which you are doing here. You are giving a number 2 decimal places, but that's not even a point, right? What if I do 7 here? It still says 7. It still says 5. What if I give 9 here? It still says 5. What if I do 9 here? It still says 5. So it is just taking your first digit and then it is giving you the answer. That's what is parse int. That's what is the difference between number and parse int. Okay. Now parse int, when you are saying the name here is int, right? So remember the integer, right? So even if you're writing 5.8, it's not going to give you a decimal value. It's going to give you an integer value. The whole numbers 0 to whatever. So only the whole numbers, right? This is parse int. Now suppose that I'm putting here parse float. That is one of the, again, a function which is used to convert something into numbers. So suppose here what I'm doing is, here I'm going to write 5. It's going to give me 5. What I'm going to write for 0.5? It's giving me 5.5. That means giving me converting into a float, not an integer, not a number. It's converting into a float. What if I write 5.8? Still giving me 5.5 because there's nothing called as 5.5.8. Okay. What if I do 5.9? It's giving me 5.9. Cool. So these are the 3 functions which we'll be using to convert your strings to numbers. And I hope you got it, how to use it. Let's move ahead and let's understand how we can convert a number to strings and what are the different functions which you can use to do this. Okay. If you have any doubts, please do let me know. I'm just watching to my live session. Let me know if you have any doubts still here, because we are done with converting strings to numbers, converting float numbers to numbers, and those all of things. So now we are into converting numbers to strings. Let me know if you have any doubt. So here what I'm going to do is, we are going to now start up with my numbers to strings. So here there is a particular function which you can use is string. Okay. Now understand that the string is having a capital S, not a small s. So do not write like that because JavaScript is case insensitive, case sensitive. So if I write here X, okay, X value I have not given yet, right? What if I put here double quote? It's giving me X again because it's a string, so it's giving me the string again. What if I write here 1, 2, 3? It's giving me again 1, 2, 3 in a string format. I know that this is a number, but the output which you are seeing here is a string. So it's getting converted, right? What if I give here a decimal number? It's again changing it to a string. You can see there, right? How am I saying that it's changing? You can see the quotes here, single quote. Whenever you have a single quote or a double quote in any of the value, it's a string. So that's what is happening. Now understand that, let's say that, this is empty. When this is empty, it is not giving me 0 value. It is not giving me nan value. It is giving me an empty string. Can you see here the single quote? It's giving me an empty string value, right? What if I write just a here? I'm writing just a, it's not doing anything, right? If I make it a string, then only it's giving me something. Okay, so when you're putting a, only a without any double quote, it is considered as a number. Okay, but it's not even a number, right? A, we can't consider it as a number, so it is not showing anything. Okay, now what? Let's say that I'm adding two numbers here. Let's say that I'm doing 52 plus 14. Okay, now 52 plus 14, when I'm writing it here, it's a number, right? So it will get added. It will get added and it becomes 66, and then it will get converted into a string. So understand this very carefully, because I have explained you this in the first session when I was trying to explain you prompt, and I was adding a value and b value, but it was not getting added. It was joining the two values and it was telling me 20, 30. It was not adding and it was not telling me 50. It was telling me 20, 30. Why? Because the input which you give to the browser, it takes the input as a string, right? And strings cannot be added, it can be concatenated, and that's why it is giving me 20, 30. That's where I used number function to convert those strings into number, and thus when I used number function, it got added. If you have not seen that session, go ahead and watch it. It was, I think, the second session of JavaScript, but don't go there right now. I'll explain it right here for you. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, let's say that I am having a variable. Let's say I'm putting a value x equal to 10, right? So now if I put string, okay, let's take another value, y, right? So I have two values here, two variables, x and y, 10 and 20 value. Let's say that I'm putting a string here and I'm saying x plus y. It's giving me 30. Why? Because here I'm mentioning that these are numbers. Okay, but when you will do it with a prompt, right? Let's say that I'm doing it with a prompt. Let's say that I'm doing it with a prompt. I'm saying that first number, it's asking me the first number. Where it is asking it? In the browser. So I'm going to put here 20. And now I'm going to give the second. So when it is taking the input from the browser, now it's not a number, it's a string. How is it taking? Okay, so let me show you. So if I hit enter here, it's asking me the second number. I'll put 10, I'll click on OK. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to print document.write x plus y. You can see here what is the output. It's 2010. It's not adding, it's concatenating, because the input which you're giving to the browser is taking the input as a string. How do we correct this, right? So how do we correct it? We need to just write here and convert this particular x into a number by using the number function. That's where typecasting comes into existence. Okay, when I do this, you can see the output here 30. 2010 is the previous output, 30 is the current output. Okay, so that's what is your number function. And I've also explained you about a string. Let's see what is next. We have to understand more of string functions. I was deviated and I went into this prompt showing you. Let's do this. Okay, so here let's say I'm using a string. One second, let me see if any doubts are there. Okay, cool. So if I have a string, and the value which I have already shown you many of the values here, but let's say that I have a value which is true. Okay, so you can see that I have not given a double quote there. Still it gives me the string value which is true. It's not giving me 1, right? Because my method, my function is a string function, not a number. If I give here false, it's giving me false. If I give here 0, it's giving me a string 0. If I give here, let's say minus 0.56, it's giving me a string value of that, correct? What if I give here null? It's giving me null. Again, undefined. It's giving me undefined. It's very straightforward. It's not going to give you the answer in a number format. Every string function, whenever you will use, it will give you the string value in the output. Cool. Now let's say that I have a variable val equal to 10. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to print this string val. It's giving me 10. Cool. Now what I'm going to do, let's say that I'm doing this. Okay. Now you can see what is the output here. What is the output here? The output is 1010. It is not adding, it is concatenating. Whereas val is an integer value, but this 10 is a string value. That's why it is not adding. Okay. What if I have a 10 value and then I'm putting val? It's giving me 20. Okay. That's how it works. We will, I will show you more examples like this later part in coming to the end of this video. But right now let's understand the next part, which is your converting dates to number. So we are going to understand now how we can convert dates to number. If you don't know how we can actually get dates in JavaScript, there's a predefined method which is given to us. We are going to use that. Let me reload this page. So if I go to my console, I just write here date. Okay. Let's say any function. So I've just written this date function. Okay. This is called as date function in JavaScript. What is this doing? Remember this till the end of the JavaScript, because this is gonna be very important for you. So date function is giving you what? Date function is giving me, let me hit enter. You can see the day, the date with the year, the month, the time at which time I have executed this code, and then the IST part, right? Indian Standard Time. Okay. This is what is my date function, correct? Now what I have to do, I have to convert dates to numbers. So I want that it should not show me this kind of date format, but this date format should be converted into a number format. So how can I do that? Let's say that I have a var d. Now understand that date function is a predefined function. That means it's already a class in my JavaScript. So I have to create its object. Now, if you don't know what is an object, what is a class, do not worry. Just understand there's the concept of class and object. Do not worry about that. What is class and object? Because there will be a session when I'll be covering class and object. Right now, just understand that this date is a function plus a class. I'm creating an object of it. What is an object? Object is a reference variable. So this is my reference variable, which is d. I could have done like this. I could have done directly like this, right? But because date is a class, it should have an object. Whenever you have a class, it should have an object. Otherwise, it won't work. Now, d is a variable. D is not a object. How can I make d as an object? I have to just write here the new keyword. So once I write the new keyword, d becomes an object. Okay. Now what is this object? It's a reference variable. This particular d variable will be pointing towards date every now and then. Every time this d particular variable will be referencing towards date function. So I've written a d object. I've created a d object. Now what I'm going to do, this d object will contain this whole thing. Yes or no? Because it's an object and it's an object of date. So date, whatever it contains, d will also contain that, right? Now let's convert this into number. So the D, which is containing the date, time, everything, is getting converted into a number. Now you won't be able to understand what is the output of this because it's an internal thing. Browser does it with the help of their ASCII and UTF format, but you can't understand this because you don't know how to convert date into a number, right? So this is what is happening inside. Now let's say what I want is D dot get date. Once again, I think I missed out the curly bracket. Sorry, the brackets. So you can see D dot get date. What is the date today? It's 19th. So it's giving me D dot get date 19th. What if I am putting this inside a number? That means D dot get date is inside a number. Still it's giving me 19, right? That means the date is still a number that's giving me 19 itself. It's not going to convert. Why it will convert? Because it's already a number, right? It's not going to convert anything, but understand the time. So if I have D dot get time, you can see it's converting into a number. Can you see this? This is not giving me a time in the time format. It's converting automatically into a number format. Okay. So that's what is your date to numbers. Now let's understand how you can convert dates to string. Any doubt till here? I'm going to wait for 3 minutes. Okay. Have a look and let me know if you have any questions. Then we are going to start with our what is the next one? Next, okay, string to numbers we have seen, numbers to string we have seen, dates to numbers we have seen, numbers to dates also you can do, right, by using the date function. I think you have already seen that in the current example, but now what I'm going to do is we are going to understand how to convert dates to string. Okay, so we'll understand that once and then we'll move to our next topics. Any doubt? Okay, so let's move ahead. Let's close this. Let's reload the page. Let's go to console. Okay, so now we are going to do the date to string. So for string, what do we use? We use string function. And for date, what do we use? We use date. What is it showing me? It's showing me the date and time in a string format, right? Everything is in the string format. Now you can do this also using another kind of function. So first I'll write date. Now if you want the length, it will give you 55. If you want the other things, you can put it from here. But here what I want is, let me see if I can find this. You can see here, I'm looking into toString. That means convert this date into a toString. It's going to do the same thing. So there are two functions which you can use here. You can use either a string function and you can put the date function inside it. And otherwise you can use this toString function which will do the same thing. This is how you can convert dates to a string. And you have several methods in date which you can use. Let me show you that so that you can get an understanding how you can get different things of date. If you go down in this particular list, right, you'll be able to find a lot of things. Okay. Now these all are of use. You can use it anytime, however you want. But let me show you something interesting. So if I have get day, get once again. Okay, I can't use it directly. I have to create an object of it. So I've created an object d dot get day. Okay, get day is second. That means it's Tuesday. So it's second, right? What if I write here full year 2021? What if I write here get hours 16? It's 4 p.m., right? So 16. Let's write the minutes 39 minutes. Similarly, you can do for seconds, you can do for months. Let me show you for month 9. Okay, I want to discuss it in functions because date is a function. So I'm going to discuss this in function as well by creating a project. But right now you can understand how this is working, right? So let's move ahead. Let's move to the next one, which is why we need to convert dates to number. See, basically it is not of that use to convert dates to numbers, but internally when computer wants to know, the system or the browser wants to know that what are you writing, we do that. Also, suppose you are creating some kind of project you're working on, okay? And let's say that you want to add two, one second, convert dates to number, right? Yes. So two dates you want to add, so that you get the resultant date, right? It can happen. The joining date and the ending date, you want to subtract so that you can understand how much of period of time the employee has been there in the company, right? So you can't just directly subtract the dates, right? You can't do that, or otherwise if you're doing it manually, you have to do it by your hands, correct? Now here in programming, what will happen, you will convert the dates into numbers. One number will come for the joining date. For the relieving date, one number will come. You subtract that and convert that number into date. You will get the resultant date, right? So that's where you can use. There are a lot of examples which you can use. It is given because there is a lot of examples. It's there because you will be using it somewhere, right? So when we will come to project, I will see how I can incorporate this functions in those projects so that you can get an idea, where these particular functions are used. Coming to converting booleans to numbers, there are a lot of topics which you will not understand now, right? You will not understand why do we convert this here, why do we convert that there. But when you will do it practically in a project, creating a to-do list or creating some application, you will understand why we have those things. There is a very famous question in database also, right? How to convert, or if suppose you have a name, right? So names comes under string. Numbers are there, it comes under integers. When you have decimal points, it comes under float. The one question is date, where it comes. Will it come in string? Will it come in numbers? Where? That's also a tricky question. So then you will also ask that where it will come. But once you will create those applications, you'll understand that this date will come as a string or a number. Okay. So when you do applications, you will understand that. Converting booleans to numbers, let's understand how we can do it. So booleans are nothing but true and false. So you already know how to do this. I've already shown you. Number, you can write any boolean that's gonna convert it into number, right? Similarly, what you can do for strings, you can do the opposite. I've already shown you that. So that's how you can do for boolean and numbers and strings. One automatic conversion I want to show you, and I want to ask questions based on that. So let me show you the question first. I'm going to inspect. You have to tell me what will be the output of this, okay? But use only English here because I'm from South India, don't know Hindi. Okay, I'll be using English. Sometimes if, in the flow, if I am speaking Hindi, then sorry for that. But sometimes it can happen. I'll not be in my senses. So I think those things you can understand. So, but most of the sessions will be in English. Okay, coming to the automatic type conversions. Okay, let's say that I have 7 and I'm adding it to 2. Okay, I'm getting 9 here, right? Now what I'm going to do is 7 plus string 2, you are getting 72. Okay, another kind of examples can be, let's say that I have 7 you can see what is happening here. I have given both the strings, but still it's giving me the number. I'm going to first write all of the test cases, and then you have to understand when it adds and when it concatenates. Okay, so let's say that I am adding it to a null. Okay, and let's say that I'm adding it now to a null. Okay, and let's understand some more things. Let's say that I am subtracting, I have done. Let's do one adding also. Cool. You can understand the difference between subtracting and adding. Just have a look, just understand, get a understanding of what is happening when we are doing this kind of things. Let's say that I'm multiplying it with 2, right? Also, when I am multiplying it with 2, right? So I have written these codes. Okay, have a look what is happening and understand what is happening here. Okay, so 7 plus 2, both are integers, it's adding and giving me 9. 7 plus string 2, it's in string, the 2 is a string, so it cannot be added, it's concatenating. 7 is a string, 2 is also a string. Now there's a subtraction here, right? That means when you're using subtraction, can it join? No, right? By subtraction, you can have only one thing, it will subtract. When you're using plus, there are two meanings. Either it will concatenate or either it will add something. But when you're using subtraction, there's nothing like non-concatenation. No, right? There's no term like that. So by subtraction, you mean only subtraction. So whether it's a string and whether it's a number, it will subtract. So it's gonna give you 5. When I'm doing 8 plus null, null is 0. And that's a number, right? Null is a number right now because I'm adding it with a number. So it's 8. But when my number is a string, which is an 8, now null also reacts like a string. So it's 8 null. Now 8 plus 2, both are string. Now here, plus is having two different meanings. Either it will add or either it will concatenate. In this case, it's concatenating because both are string. Multiplication, 8 into 2. Again, multiplication is only having one meaning, that it should multiply. So it's multiplying, giving me 16. Similarly for the integer. One more test case. Let's say that I have a number 8 and I am subtracting it with 2. Okay, still giving me 6. Can you see? Because subtraction is only having one meaning, that will subtract. So keep this thing in mind. Do not get confused because these are asked for only for freshers. Experienced people, these things will not be asked. Maybe it will be asked, but in a complicated manner to experienced people. But to freshers, this is how they will ask. They will tell you to open a browser. They'll tell you to open a console. They'll say, can you please tell me what will be the output of these things? Right? This is how they are going to ask this. So keep these things ready in your mind. Keep these things ready with in your brain, that how you are going to answer these questions. Cool. I think you'll be able to understand now what I have shown you till now for type conversions. Let's move ahead. Let's move ahead and see what is the next topic, which is operators. Okay. Now, I want you guys to respond back to my question. Okay. I can see that many of you are watching this live session. I think 8 people are watching right now. It was close beyond to 11 people, or maybe I don't know what is the metrics right now who are watching the session. But I want one answer from you guys, that just tell me in the live chat, which programming language do you know? I don't care you are in first year or second year or third year or fourth year. Just write down the programming language which you know. If you know only one language, which is C language, write in the live chat that you know C language. If you know C, C++, Java, Python, then just write all. Okay, just write all. Just put whatever language you know, whatever programming language you know. I'm talking about programming language, not HTML or CSS. Okay, programming language. Just put it in the live chat. I'm just waiting for you guys to put it down in the live chat. Then only I'll start operators, because your response depends on the topic here, which is JavaScript operators. Okay, so let's bring on the comments, and then we are going to talk about this. So I'm getting some comments. Mridul is saying that he knows C, C++, and Python. Really good, very good. I hope when you're saying C, C++, and Python, I'm very sure that you know the basics of it. Even if you know the advanced, I don't care. If you know the basics, I'm good. Anybody else? You know all. Dilip. Renuka knows C, C++, Java, and Python. Harika knows C, C, Java. Aryan knows C and C++. Cool. So I think everybody who is in this live session, they know at least one programming language, right? Which is C or C++. At least these two. Okay. Now you must have known about operators in this particular languages, and you can tell me what are the operators which you have in these programming languages, right? You have arithmetic operator, assignment operator, comparison operator, logical operator, bitwise operator, right? Do you know all these kinds of operators? If you know all these kinds of operators, keep it in your mind till the day you die. Okay, because if you want to become a software developer, these operators will never get vanished. These operators will be there in every programming language, and it's also there in JavaScript, right? The same operators. Arithmetic operator will have what? Let me go back to my browser. Let's inspect. Let's go to my console. So arithmetic operator, when you talk about that, you have a lot of things. You have plus, you have minus, you have multiplication, right? And then you have division. I hope you understand what is modulus also, which is we represented with the percentage sign. If anybody knows what is the difference between division and modulus, put it down in the live chat so that I can understand you guys know about it. Okay. The next, what do we have is, we are done with plus minus. Yeah. The next ones are unary operators, right? So we do write unary operators. Don't worry about the error which is coming here. I'm just trying to show you some operators. Above, I have written arithmetic operators. Down, I'm writing unary operators. We have increment operator. We have decrement operator. We have some plus and minus signs used as an unary operator as well. So these were the unary operators, right? Okay. So I hope you got the difference between percentage and, sorry, modulus and division, right? Division is for remainder or modulus is for remainder. Let me know in the comments, guys, if you know that. Do not Google search it. You should be knowing about it. Okay, now let's talk about what is new. What is new in arithmetic operator in JavaScript, especially in JavaScript, okay? So we know that in JavaScript, we have plus, minus, multiplication, division, and modulus. And because you guys know about it, I'm not going to teach it again, right? Because that's a waste of time. Again, one session and then operators. And suppose if you don't know any of the operators, these operators, then tell me, I'll take another session, especially for operators, okay? Where in 1 hour, I'll complete all of this. But right now, I'm just completing it in 15 minutes because I'm just going to discuss those new operators which is there in JavaScript. In JavaScript, basically from 2016, the ECMAScript version of 2016, they included this particular operator which is called as exponentiation, okay, which comes with a double star. Now, what is this exponentiation? It's similar to power, 2 to the power 3, 4 to the power 3. How do we do that? We just write 2, we give the exponentiation symbol, and then we write 3. 2 to the power 3 is how much? 8. And that's what it is giving me. Okay. You can also use variables in this case. Say, suppose you're putting one value to x and second value to y, and then you are doing x double star y. That's what is an exponentiation. Cool. So this is what is your one particular new operator which is used in JavaScript. I hope you have understood this. Let me give you some more examples if you have not understood this. Cool. But please understand that it's 5 to the power 4 and not 4 to the power 5. Any doubts? Okay. Percent modulus gives reminder. Okay. Modulus gives reminder and slash gives quotient. Very good. Right. That is the correct thing. I hope you have understood this. Now, arithmetic operator we have seen. Unity operator is the same. Right. Let's move to our assignment operator. Now, please understand. I know that you guys know operators in C, C++, but I don't know if you know this. Let me write it. I don't know if you have any idea about this. Okay. So this is what comes inside assignment operator, and I don't know if you know the meaning of this, right? So let me explain if nobody knows about it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a variable A, right? And also I'm going to take a variable B. Okay. Let's do something. Let's give the A value as 5. Let's give the B value as 10, right? This is done. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to give here this kind of thing. Okay. A plus equal to B. What is it telling me? It's giving you 15. Why? A plus equal to B means A equal to A plus B, and that's why it comes under assignment operator, because it's an assignment which you are doing. Okay, so A equal to A plus B will also give you, that's adding, don't worry about that, it's actually adding 15 with 10, so it's giving you 25, but these both are same. This and this both are same. It's just a way to write this. Okay, you can do this with any operator. I'm not going to show you for minus, not for into, or not for anything else. I'm just going to show you for exponentiation one, because that is the new one which you have learned. So you can see this is what is the output. Anybody can tell me what number is it? What power is it? Is it 5 to the power 10 or is it 25 to the power 10? What is it? Is it 15 to the power? What is it? Just let me know. Okay. Let me give you one easy example for this if you have not understood. So 5 b equal to 10. Okay. Now I'm doing star equal to b. That means a equal to a star star b. Okay. So what does it become? 5 to the power 10. Cool. That's what it is. Okay. Am I live? Yeah. Right. So that's what is assignment operator. We have some more operators. We have like, you know, one second. Am I live? Yes. Cool. So let's understand one more thing. Let's close this. See, there are the same operators which I've told you, logical and bitwise. Logical, if you know, those are and, or, and not. Bitwise also has and, or, and not. Please do not get confused between these two, right? I know many of you will have confusion between these two because that's the two operators which really confuses, right? So when you talk about and, or, and not, right? So these are the operators which you have in your JavaScript. Okay. This is what is the logical operators. Let me write here. Okay. And when you talk about bitwise operators, then we have the same logical and logical nor, those all things, but in a single way. Here note is represented by this. And then we have one more which is XOR. Okay, XOR. And then the next ones are left shift, right shift, and then zero fill left shift. Sorry, zero fill right shift. Okay, so these are your bitwise operator. If you don't know about this, do let me know in the comment section. I'll come up with a 1 hour operator session so that I can explain this. But I feel in C and C++, Java, Python, these all operators are covered. And if you know that, you know this. So I don't want to waste time explaining this. Okay. But if any one person wants me to explain this in detail, if you have not understood, if you have confusions, if you have doubts that how this logical operator works, how this bitwise operator works, I'm getting confusion. If I solve a problem, I'm getting error. I'm not getting the desired output. That means you don't know about it, right? So do let me know. Even increment and decrement operator, many of freshers have doubts in those, right? So do let me know if you have any doubts in those kind of uh, operators. Okay. So this was all about operators and what else? The typecasting. Okay. In the next session, which is tomorrow, what we are going to do is we are going to start with conditional statements and looping constructs. Okay. And please do join that session. Don't think that you know conditional and it's the same in JavaScript. It is the same, but there are new things also added, right? So do join tomorrow session also, and I hope you like this session. I hope you have understood whatever I explained you. Thank you so much for joining the session. If you have any questions, do let me know. I'm there for the next 2 to 5 minutes. Please do let me know if you have any other questions, and I will also see if I have missed out any question. Cool, guys. Anything you want to ask, please do ask. uh, Otherwise, we'll meet again today at 8 p.m. 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. we have a session which is on HTML and CSS. I'm going to start CSS today. So it will be a great session because till now we have covered the basics of HTML. We have understood how to create a list, how to create a table. So now what we are going to do is we are going to understand some more things in CSS. Okay, cool. Thank you so much, guys. I believe you don't have any questions to ask. So I'll meet you soon in the next session, which is today at 8 p.m. and for JavaScript tomorrow at 4 p.m. Bye bye. Take care.